Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer for Weekend Wrap, taking a look back at last Friday's Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. They break from the gate, and no surprise that Sharp Azteca, the brilliantly fast Sharp Azteca, the number 3, is going to be very forward. He's going to grab the lead from long shot Gato del Oro.
Yeah, I mean, this is, his running style. You got to send him to the front with his speed. He's got plenty of it. He goes right to the lead here. What is 67 to 1 shot? It's going to sit up there outside of him. This is a pretty good trip for this horse.
But he is down close to the inside, and if you think the inside was not the place to be, maybe that worked against Sharp Azteca when it really counted. Meanwhile, More Spirit, favorite in this race, hadn't seen him since his brilliant performance beating Sharp Azteca in the Metropolitan Mile. I can't see anything else Mike Smith could have done. He put him in just a beautiful spot sitting in third. This horse did not fire and just had no interest whatsoever.
No, he didn't run at all. You're right. Smith got him where he needed to be early on. 3 wide tracking trip, nothing wrong with that, but he comes under an early ride and there's just no response.
Battle of Midway is parked out there 4 wide right now, and usually you would think that's not the place to be, but perhaps on this track it works very well. He's moving comfortably throughout while you see Awesome Slew, who ran really well here, down towards the inside. That's the number 5.
Yeah, number 5 also stuck down on the rail, as is Sharp Azteca, contesting the pace with that big long shot. So yeah, you're right. Maybe being as wide as this horse was could have been a benefit to him, but look how strongly he's traveling through the second turn. I mean, he's pulling his rider right up to contention here through the second turn. He's going to hook Sharp Azteca here. They're going to duel to the finish. This horse is the best.
Paco Lopez, you can see, tried to get off the rail turning into the stretch. Battle of Midway's got the momentum. Sharp Azteca, once he changes leads, now he's being herded down inside. He really fights very hard all the way down to the wire. Jorge Navarro says the Cigar Mile might be next for him, but let's give Battle of Midway some credit. This horse, a lot of folks forget, 3rd in the Kentucky Derby earlier this year, but has found himself as a miler.
He ran really well in this race. I mean, even if you think he was on the best part of the track, he looked like he might win this race from the far turn. He was traveling really well in this race. And you know what? He hooked a pretty game horse in the stretch here, and he outfinished him, because Sharp Azteca doesn't give in.
Battle of Midway returns $30.40. This is a son of Smart Strike. His dam was a Grade 1 stakes winner in Southern California. He was privately purchased between the Santa Anita Derby and the Kentucky Derby, originally a $410,000 yearling. Jerry Hollendorfer, after the race, indicated, boy, I'd love to run him one more time, because of course, the Malibu opening day at Santa Anita is open for 3-year-olds going 7 furlongs. That race might hit him between the eyes. Whether he runs here or goes to stud, that's a different story. But he has really blossomed at these shorter distances. And we kind of saw that in his most recent start at Remington Park at a mile and 1/8, where, he got into a little bit of trouble the first 3 furlongs, kind of in and among horses. But once he made the front in mid-stretch, you would have thought he would have held off that horse untrapped in the lane. But I think a mile and 1/8 a little far.
Yeah, I didn't care for that loss for him, but you're right. Maybe it was the distance, and it seems odd to say that for a horse who ran 3rd in the Kentucky Derby, but I think that's probably what it is. He's probably a little bit better going shorter. He ran well to win this race, that's for sure.
Awesome Slew, a hard hitter, a little closer to the pace than I was expected, at least at about the half-mile pole, perhaps on the deeper footing. Tried hard as usual to finish 3rd. Practical Joke. I think a lot of folks thought the 2 turns might work against him. He's truly a 1-turn miler. He might get a chance against Sharp Azteca in the Cigar Mile.
Yeah, I would like to see them bring him back in the Cigar Mile, actually. I think that would be a good spot. You know, it'd be a good spot for Awesome Slew, too. They're both really nice horses. Practical Joke, I don't know what kind of chance he really had in this race, Dan. I mean, they sort of raided the break with him like they never had, and maybe post-10 had something to do with that. Just being hung outside wasn't ideal, but I mean, they never really gave him a chance to get forward in this race. They took him all the way back. He was actually racing on Gamely late in this race, but there was really no chance he was going to make up the ground he had to make up.
As for More Spirit, there had been whispers. I mean, when the horse wins the Met Mile the way he did, it was one of the more visually impressive performances of 2017. Then you disappear. Something's not right. And Baffert had just said he just seems a little sour. I mean, this was sour. This was an awful performance. I don't know what's next, if anything, for this horse.
No, I don't either. It'll be very interesting to see if he even comes back at all. I don't think, at least in his case, because of everything that had gone on with him since the Met Mile, it's not shocking that he didn't run at all in this race. There were some other performances on this Breeders' Cup card from some other, fancied horses, let's say, that were pretty shocking, didn't run at all. I don't know if he would fall in that category, because I'm not surprised he didn't fire in this race.
Some might argue that Accelerate's performance was somewhat shocking. He was the 7-2 third choice in this race. We saw him beat Arrogate in the San Diego Handicap. We saw him try the Pacific Classic, and listen, Collected and Arrogate ran their races that day, or at least Collected ran his. It was a very fast race. Malacourt a little far for him. I wonder if maybe those 2 races kind of A, knocked the starch out of him, and B, John Sadler said after this race, Accelerate kind of got banged around a little bit, came out with the hot foot.
Okay, I mean, I hope there's some excuse for it because he was awful.
Cupid goes to stud off this performance, or non-performance, however you might like. He didn't run at all, and I guess even though he did get that big win in the Grade 1 Gold Cup at Santa Anita, I think that Cupid is always going to be remembered as more sizzle than steak.
Yeah, I guess he never really did pan out, did he? Bob Everett actually did a very good job with him to get him as many wins as he did. He just, he is what he is, and it's, he's another one of those horses. It's unfortunate that he goes out on this kind of performance because he didn't run at all in this race, but he's obviously better than that.
Sharp as Tekka and Practical Joke, the 2nd and 4th place finishers. Probable as of right now for the Cigar Mile. We'll see if Jerry Hollendorfer gets one more chance with Battle of Midway in the Malibu. Battle of Midway earned a 108 Beyer speed figure for his win in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.